they didn't remember me from auditioning for Grace. So nobody has a good memory on our show.
They smiled for the cameras, delivered perfect comedic timing together, and convinced millions of viewers they were madly in love. But the second the director yelled, "Cut," these sitcom couples couldn't get away from each other fast enough. Some refused to speak off camera, others wouldn't even be in the same room during table reads, and a few got so bad that restraining orders and physical altercations became part of the production schedule. Number 14, Tony Danza and Judith Light, Who's the Boss? Coming in at number 14, we've got Tony Danza and Judith Light from Who's the Boss. Now, this one's a bit different because they didn't exactly hate each other, but there was definitely some serious creative tension that made working together uncomfortable for 8 seasons. The show ran from 1984 to 1992. And on screen, Tony and Angela had this will they won't they chemistry that kept audiences hooked for years. But behind the scenes, Danza and Light had completely different approaches to acting, and those differences created friction. Light came from serious theater background. She'd done Broadway, studied method acting, took her craft incredibly seriously. Danza was a former boxer who got into acting almost by accident and approached everything with a loose, improvisational style. Light wanted to rehearse scenes multiple times and discuss character motivation. Danza wanted to show up, crack some jokes, and get it done in one take. The really interesting part is that neither of them was wrong. They were just incompatible working styles forced to spend 12 hours a day together. Light has said in interviews that she found Danza's casual approach frustrating, while Danza thought Light was way too uptight about a sitcom that was supposed to be fun. The tension never exploded into a public feud, but crew members reported that Light and Danza rarely spoke between takes and basically avoided each other whenever possible. They were ultimate professionals who delivered great performances, but the second their scenes wrapped, they went to opposite sides of the set. Number 13, Shannen Doherty and Jennie Garth, Beverly Hills 90210. At number 13, we're jumping into the drama of Beverly Hills 90210 with Shannen Doherty and Jennie Garth. And this one got ugly, folks, like physically fighting on set ugly. The show became a cultural phenomenon in the early 90s, and Doherty's Brenda Walsh and Garth's Kelly Taylor were best friends on screen. Off-screen, they reportedly couldn't stand being in the same room. The feud started early in the show's run. Doherty had a reputation for being difficult, showing up late and clashing with producers. Garth, meanwhile, was seen as the more easygoing, professional cast member. That dynamic alone created tension, but things got way worse. In her memoir, Garth admitted that she and Doherty actually got into a physical altercation during the show's 3rd season in 1993. According to Garth, they were shooting a scene and got into an argument that escalated until they were literally grabbing each other and had to be separated by crew members. Tori Spelling, who played Donna, confirmed in interviews that the Doherty-Garth feud created an incredibly uncomfortable atmosphere on set. The cast basically split into factions. Some people sided with Shannen, others with Jennie, and everyone had to navigate this minefield every single day. The situation became so toxic that producers reportedly used it as one of the reasons to write Doherty out of the show at the end of season 4 in 1994. Her departure was framed as a creative decision, but everyone knew the behind-the-scenes drama played a major role. Years later, both actresses admitted the feud was real, but also acknowledged they were young, immature, and dealing with massive fame they weren't prepared for. They've since made peace, but during those 90210 days, absolute war zone. Number 12, Will Smith and Janet Hubert, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Number 12 takes us to Bel-Air with Will Smith and Janet Hubert from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And this feud lasted for decades, people. We're talking 27 years of bad blood before they finally reconciled. Hubert played Aunt Vivian for the first 3 seasons of Fresh Prince from 1990 to 1993. She brought depth and gravitas to the role, created this warm maternal figure that grounded the show. Then suddenly, she was gone, replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid for seasons 4 through 6 with barely an explanation. For years, the official story was that Hubert wanted more money and became difficult to work with, but Hubert told a completely different story. She claimed that Smith, who was the show's star and had significant influence, made her working conditions unbearable and essentially got her fired. In interviews, Hubert accused Smith of being egotistical, controlling, and deliberately trying to destroy her career. She said he spread rumors about her being difficult when she was actually dealing with a difficult pregnancy and postpartum issues that the production refused to accommodate. Smith, for his part, stayed mostly quiet for years, but eventually said in interviews that Hubert was unprofessional and created problems on set. He suggested she made unreasonable demands and had a bad attitude. The feud became so notorious that for the 2020 Fresh Prince reunion special, getting Hubert and Smith in the same room seemed impossible. But in a genuinely moving moment, they sat down together, had an honest conversation about what went wrong, and apologized to each other. Hubert explained her personal struggles at the time, Smith acknowledged he was young and didn't handle things well, and they finally made peace. It took 27 years, but sometimes even the worst feuds can eventually heal. Number 11. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, The X-Files. Coming in at number 11, we've got David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson from The X-Files. Now, this one's interesting because they didn't hate each other exactly, but they definitely didn't like each other for a good chunk of the show's original run. The X-Files premiered in 1993 and became a massive hit, with Duchovny's Mulder and Anderson's Scully developing one of television's most iconic partnerships. On screen, they had incredible chemistry. Off screen, not so much. Anderson has been remarkably candid about this in interviews. She said that during the early seasons, she and Duchovny barely spoke to each other between takes. They'd film their scenes, deliver their lines, and then immediately separate and not interact until the next scene required it. Part of the problem was the grueling shooting schedule. The X-Files filmed in Vancouver for the first 5 seasons, often working 14 to 16-hour days in cold, rainy conditions. Both actors were exhausted, stressed, and trapped in this intense situation together. There was also the pay disparity issue. Anderson was making significantly less than Duchovny, despite being equally central to the show, and that created understandable resentment. She had to fight for equal pay, which the network finally granted, but the whole situation left a bad taste. Duchovny dealt with his frustrations by eventually suing Fox for breach of contract and reducing his role on the show. Anderson just powered through, but the relationship with her co-star remained distant and professional at best. The fascinating twist is that years later, after the original series ended and they both had time away from the pressure cooker environment, Anderson and Duchovny actually became friends. They genuinely like each other now, speak warmly about each other in interviews, and clearly enjoy working together on the revival seasons. Sometimes people just need space and perspective, and maybe to not be working 16-hour days in Vancouver rain. Number 10. Terry Hatcher and the rest of the Desperate Housewives. Cast. At number 10, we're diving into Wisteria Lane with Terry Hatcher versus basically everyone else on Desperate Housewives. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. This wasn't a feud between two people. This was one person against the entire cast. Desperate Housewives ran from 2004 to 2012, and on screen, the 4 main actresses played best friends navigating suburban life. Behind the scenes, Hatcher was reportedly isolated and excluded by her co-stars Marcia Cross, Felicity Huffman, and Eva Longoria. The problem started early in the show's run. Reports suggest Hatcher rubbed the other actresses the wrong way, with behavior they saw as diva-ish and attention-seeking. She allegedly tried to position herself as the star of an ensemble show, which didn't sit well with the others. Things got so bad that the other 3 actresses reportedly refused to ride in the same car as Hatcher for publicity events. They wouldn't sit near her at table reads. They formed their own group chat that deliberately excluded her. The most damning evidence of the feud came from Vanity Fair's 2005 cover shoot. The magazine wanted all 4 actresses together, and the other 3 allegedly insisted in their contracts that Hatcher could not be positioned as more prominent than them in the photo. The resulting image shows all 4 women, but you can practically feel the tension. Felicity Huffman gave an interview years later where she essentially confirmed the feud without naming Hatcher directly. She talked about how one cast member made working conditions difficult and how the other 3 bonded over their shared frustrations. Hatcher has never really addressed the feud directly, but she's made comments suggesting she felt bullied and isolated on set. The whole situation apparently created such a toxic environment that when the show ended in 2012, there was no cast reunion, no group farewell, nothing. They just went their separate ways and haven't worked together since. 8 years of making one of TV's biggest hits, and they couldn't even fake friendship long enough for a proper goodbye. Number 9, Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall, Sex and the City. Number 9 brings us to Sex and the City and the epic, legendary, career-defining feud between Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall. This is probably the most famous TV co-star feud of the 21st century, and it killed any chance of a third Sex and the City movie. The show ran from 1998 to 2004 on HBO, with Cattrall's Samantha Jones becoming the breakout character, despite Parker's Carrie Bradshaw being the nominal lead. That dynamic itself created tension, but the real problems ran deeper. Cattrall has been brutally honest about her feelings toward Parker. In interviews, she's said they were never friends, that their relationship was always purely professional, and that Parker was not nice to her on set. She's accused Parker of being manipulative and controlling, particularly regarding the 2 movie productions. The big explosion came when a third Sex and the City movie was in development around 2017. Cattrall reportedly had issues with the script and money, and when the project fell apart, Parker and others in the cast publicly blamed Cattrall for killing the movie. Cattrall fired back in a brutal Instagram post where she told Parker, quote, "You are not my friend," and accused her of using their shared history to boost her own image while privately treating Cattrall poorly. She also said Parker reached out when Cattrall's brother died, and Cattrall told her to stop pretending they had a relationship. Parker has maintained a more diplomatic public stance, saying she's sad about how things turned out, but respects Cattrall's choices. But the subtext has always been clear. These 2 women genuinely dislike each other. The feud became so famous that when the Sex and the City revival series, And Just Like That, was greenlit, everyone knew from the jump that Cattrall would not be involved. The show literally killed off her character to explain the absence. The really interesting part is that the other cast members, Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis, have mostly stayed out of it publicly, but they clearly sided with Parker since they all did the revival together without Cattrall. 6 seasons and 2 movies weren't enough to create even basic friendship between these 2. Sometimes personalities just clash, and no amount of success can fix that. Number 8, Debra Messing and Megan Mullally, Will and Grace. At number 8, we're looking at Debra Messing and Megan Mullally from Will and Grace. This feud is particularly sad because these 2 were genuinely close friends for years before everything fell apart. Yeah, Will and Grace originally ran from 1998 to 2006, and during that time, Messing's Grace and Mullally's Karen had incredible chemistry. The actresses were reportedly best friends off-screen, vacationed together, genuinely enjoyed each other's company. Then came the revival series that started in 2017, and something went very wrong. The exact details have never been fully revealed, but reports suggest a major falling out happened early in the revival's production. By the show's final season in 2020, Messing and Mullally reportedly weren't speaking to each other at all. They filmed their scenes together, but didn't interact between takes. The production had to schedule things carefully to minimize their off-camera time together. The really telling sign was their social media behavior. Messing posted warm tributes to her other castmates, Eric McCormack and Sean Hayes, when the show ended. She posted nothing about Mullally. Mullally did the same, praising everyone except Messing. Neither actress has ever publicly explained what happened. In interviews, they give vague answers about growing apart or having different experiences on the revival. But crew members and insiders have confirmed that the relationship completely disintegrated. The speculation is that it involved disagreements about the show's creative direction, personal betrayals, or accumulated resentments that finally exploded. But without either actress speaking candidly, we may never know the real story. What makes this feud particularly tragic is that they were real friends first. This wasn't a case of co-workers who never liked each other. They had genuine affection and history, and whatever happened destroyed it completely. Number 7, Kate Jackson and Cheryl Ladd, Charlie's Angels. Coming in at number 7, we've got Kate Jackson and Cheryl Ladd from Charlie's Angels. This feud involved jealousy, replacement anxiety, and the brutal politics of being a woman on a 1970s hit show. Charlie's Angels premiered in 1976 with Jackson, Farrah Fawcett, and Jaclyn Smith as the original Angels. When Fawcett left after season 1, Cheryl Ladd joined the cast in 1977 to replace her. Jackson, who was the most experienced actress of the group and had significant creative input on the show, reportedly resented Ladd from the start. She saw Ladd as a younger, prettier threat who was getting preferential treatment from producers. Ladd has spoken about how difficult Jackson made her first season. In her autobiography, Ladd wrote about feeling intimidated and excluded by Jackson, who had already established herself as the show's de facto leader. Jackson would allegedly criticize Ladd's acting, make comments about her appearance, and generally create a hostile environment. The tension escalated when producers started featuring Ladd more prominently in episodes and promotional materials. Ladd's Chris Monroe became increasingly central to storylines, which infuriated Jackson. By Jackson's final season in 1979, the relationship had deteriorated completely. Jackson clashed with producers over creative direction and money, felt threatened by Ladd's rising popularity, and eventually left the show under contentious circumstances. Jackson has given interviews over the years where she's been dismissive of Charlie's Angels in general, and her co-stars specifically. She suggested the show was beneath her talents and that she didn't enjoy working on it. Ladd, meanwhile, has taken the high road in most interviews, but has also made it clear that Jackson's behavior made her life difficult during those early seasons. The feud highlights the brutal reality of being a woman on a hit show in the 70s. The pressure to stay young, beautiful, and relevant created an environment where actresses saw each other as threats rather than allies. Number 6. Suzanne Somers and Joyce DeWitt, Three's Company. At number 6, we're hitting Three's Company with the absolute disaster that was Suzanne Somers versus Joyce DeWitt. This feud involved money, ego, network politics, and the complete destruction of a working relationship. Three's Company ran from 1977 to 1984, with Somers and DeWitt playing roommates alongside John Ritter. For the first few seasons, everything seemed fine. Then Somers made a power move that changed everything. In 1980, after the show's 4th season, Somers demanded a massive pay raise. She wanted to go from $30,000 per episode to $150,000, matching what male stars like Alan Alda were making on Maz H. She also wanted 10% of the show's profits. The network absolutely refused. They saw it as outrageous, especially since John Ritter was the show's acknowledged star. The situation became a public battle, with Somers eventually being reduced to brief pre-taped segments for season 5 and then written out of the show entirely. DeWitt reportedly sided with the network and her co-star Ritter against Somers. She felt Somers was being greedy and destroying the show with her demands. The two women stopped speaking entirely. The feud lasted for decades, like they didn't speak for 30 years. When John Ritter died in 2003, they both attended his funeral, but reportedly didn't acknowledge each other. The fascinating twist is that in 2012, they finally reconciled on Somers' talk show. DeWitt appeared as a guest, and they had an emotional reunion where they addressed the feud and apologized to each other. In retrospect, Somers was ahead of her time, demanding equal pay for equal work, even if her approach was aggressive. DeWitt was loyal to her other co-star and the show. Both positions make sense, but the result was the 3 decades of bitterness. Number 5. Isaiah Washington and Patrick Dempsey, Grey's Anatomy. Number 5 takes us to Grey's Anatomy with Isaiah Washington and Patrick Dempsey. This feud got so ugly it involved a homophobic slur, a firing, and years of public mudslinging. Washington joined Grey's Anatomy in 2005 as Dr. Preston Burke, while Dempsey played Dr. Derek Shepard. Both characters were central to the show's success. But behind the scenes, Washington and Dempsey reportedly clashed constantly. The feud exploded in 2006 during an on-set altercation. According to reports, Washington and Dempsey got into a physical confrontation, and during the argument, Washington allegedly used a homophobic slur in reference to their co-star, T.R. Steege or Knight. The incident became public knowledge, and Washington faced massive backlash. He initially denied using the slur, then later admitted it at the Golden Globes in 2007, which created even more controversy. ABC fired Washington from Grey's Anatomy shortly after. His character was written out of the show. ending a major storyline with Sandra Oh's Christina Yang. But Washington didn't go quietly. In the years since, he's repeatedly claimed that Dempsey orchestrated his firing because of their on-set rivalry. He's suggested that Dempsey used the incident as an opportunity to eliminate a competitor for screen time and storylines. Washington has also alleged that Dempsey created a toxic work environment on Grey's Anatomy for years, claims that gained some credibility when Dempsey himself left the show in 2015 amid reports of behind-the-scenes issues. Dempsey has never publicly responded to Washington's accusations, taking the classic high road approach of just not engaging. The whole situation is messy and complicated, involving real harm to TR Knight, workplace violence, and competing narratives about what really happened. But what's clear is that Washington and Dempsey genuinely couldn't stand each other, and that animosity had serious consequences. Number 4, Bill Murray and Chevy Chase, Saturday Night Live. Coming in at number 4, we've got Bill Murray and Chevy Chase from Saturday Night Live. This feud is legendary, involved an actual fistfight backstage, and has lasted for over 40 years. Chase was an original cast member of SNL when it premiered in 1975. He became the show's first breakout star, then left, after just one season to pursue a movie career. Murray replaced him in the cast for season 2 in 1976. From the start, Murray resented Chase. He felt Chase had abandoned the show and the cast for selfish reasons. Chase, meanwhile, saw Murray as the guy trying to fill his shoes and wasn't impressed. The feud came to a head in 1978 when Chase returned to host SNL. Backstage before the show, Murray and Chase got into a verbal argument that escalated into a physical fight. They literally threw punches at each other. Cast and crew had to separate them. The fight was about personal insults. Murray allegedly made comments about Chase's marriage and career. Chase fired back with insults about Murray. It got nasty, then violent. The feud has never really ended. In interviews over the decades, both men have taken shots at each other. Chase has called Murray difficult and untalented. Murray has suggested Chase is a jerk who burned all his bridges in Hollywood. They've crossed paths occasionally at SNL reunions and industry events, and the tension is always visible. They don't speak, don't acknowledge each other, maintain this decades-long Cold War. The really interesting part is that both men are known for being difficult to work with, so this is kind of a case of two strong personalities who are never going to get along. When you've got two alpha comedians competing for the same space, conflict is almost inevitable. Number 3, Naya Rivera and Lea Michele, Glee. At number 3, we're looking at Naya Rivera and Lea Michele from Glee. This feud involved jealousy, dressing room confrontations, and incredibly sad timing, given Rivera's tragic death in 2020. Glee premiered in 2009 with Michelle's Rachel Berry as the clear lead character. Rivera joined as Santana Lopez, initially a supporting role that became much larger as the show progressed. The problem started when Rivera's character became increasingly popular with fans, particularly due to her LGBTQ storyline with Heather Morris's Britney. Rivera was getting more screen time, better songs, and fan attention that Michelle reportedly found threatening. In her memoir, Rivera was remarkably candid about the feud. She wrote that she and Michelle were like gasoline and a match together, that they had screaming matches in their dressing room, and that Michelle would complain to producers when Rivera got too much attention. Rivera described Michelle as controlling and insecure, someone who saw Glee as her show and resented anyone who threatened that position. She also suggested that Michelle made the working environment difficult for several cast members, not just Rivera. Other Glee cast members have backed up Rivera's version of events. Samantha Ware publicly accused Michelle of making her life a living hell on set with microaggressions and bullying behavior. Michelle has never directly addressed the feud with Rivera, but when Rivera died in a drowning accident in 2020, Michelle posted a tribute that many saw as hollow given their history. The tragedy of Rivera's death adds a particularly sad layer to this feud. Whatever their differences, Rivera was a talented performer who died way too young, and the fact that her relationship with her co-star was so contentious makes the whole situation feel even more heartbreaking. Number 2, Thomas Gibson and Shannen Moore, Criminal Minds. Coming in at number 2, we've got Thomas Gibson and Shannen Moore from Criminal Minds. This feud involved ego clashes, creative differences, and eventually led to Gibson's firing from the show after a physical altercation. Criminal Minds premiered in 2005 with Gibson and Moore as two of the show's leads. Gibson played Aaron Hotchner, the team leader, while Moore played Derek Morgan. For years, they coexisted professionally, but there was, reportedly, always tension. The issues stemmed from both actors having strong ideas about their characters and storylines. Gibson saw himself as the show's lead and wanted storylines that reflected that. Moore's character became increasingly popular, getting more action sequences and romantic subplots, which allegedly bothered Gibson. Crew members reported that Gibson and Moore would clash over script changes, scene blocking, and screen time. They maintained professionalism in front of cameras, but barely spoke between takes. In 2016, everything exploded. Gibson allegedly kicked a writer-producer during a disagreement about a script. The incident led to his immediate firing from Criminal Minds after 11 seasons. While Moore wasn't directly involved in that incident, multiple sources suggested that Gibson's behavior had been escalating for years, and that his conflicts with cast members, including Moore, had created a hostile work environment. Moore left the show in 2017, one season after Gibson's firing. In interviews, he's been diplomatic about his former co-star, but has made it clear they were never friends and had very different approaches to the work. Gibson has stayed mostly quiet about the incident and his firing, but the message was clear. His inability to manage conflicts with co-workers and crew ultimately cost him his job. Number 1. Betty White and Bea Arthur, the Golden Girls. And at number 1, we've got the feud that shocked everyone who loved the Golden Girls. Betty White and Bea Arthur genuinely could not stand each other. I know. Dorothy and Rose, best friends on screen, enemies in real life. It still hurts. The Golden Girls ran from 1985 to 1992, and the chemistry between all four actresses seemed perfect. But according to multiple sources, including the show's creator and other cast members, White and Arthur had a deeply antagonistic relationship. The problem stemmed from completely opposite personalities. White is famously cheerful, optimistic, loves animals, finds joy in everything. Arthur was intellectual, serious, could be cold and cutting. They just rubbed each other the wrong way. Arthur reportedly found White's relentless cheerfulness annoying. She'd roll her eyes at White's animal stories, make sarcastic comments about White's personality, and generally treat her with thinly veiled contempt. White, to her credit, mostly tried to rise above it. She said in interviews that she respected Arthur's talent, but acknowledged they were never friends and that Arthur didn't like her. Rue McClanahan, who played Blanche, wrote in her memoir about the White-Arthur tension. She described it as an open secret on set, something everyone knew about and worked around. McClanahan and Estelle Getty would act as buffers between White and Arthur. The fascinating thing is how well they hit it on screen. Their scenes together are some of the show's best moments, full of warmth and genuine connection. They were both professional enough to never let their personal feelings affect their performances. When Arthur died in 2009, White gave a gracious public statement about her co-star's talent, but she's also been honest in interviews about the fact that they were never close, and that Arthur made it clear she didn't enjoy White's company. The feud never involved public battles or dramatic confrontations. It was just two women who worked together brilliantly, but genuinely disliked each other on a personal level. Sometimes that's how it goes. So there you have it, folks. 14 sitcom couples who made us believe in love, friendship, and partnership on screen, while absolutely despising each other behind the scenes. Some of these feuds lasted decades, some ended careers, and a few actually led to reconciliation and healing. The lesson here is that great acting is about creating believable relationships regardless of your personal feelings. These performers were professionals who showed up, did the work, and delivered performances that entertained millions, even when they wanted nothing more than to never see their co-star again.